Hi, my name's Stephanie, and a lot of what I do is teach people how to reduce, take a break, or stop alcohol for a lovely little community interest company called Women Who Don't Drink. I'm going to do a little video about the general physical health impact of alcohol. I'm going to do some more videos where I'm going to go into a bit more detail, but people have asked me to cover some different subjects. So I'm just going to do a bit of a whistle-stop tour on the general physical health impact of alcohol, because there's so much information out there, it can be hard to know what to listen to, what to believe, what's correct. Before we go any further though, the best book for facts, if you really want to learn about alcohol, is Drink by Professor Davit Nutt. Yes, it's a bit heavy, it's like a manual, but you can read a page a day or listen to like 5 minutes a day. It has everything I would want you to know about alcohol in there. So once you've educated yourself, you can make an informed choice. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Alcohol is a drug that impacts on the way you think and feel. Alcohol is a drug. We say alcohol and drugs, but we shouldn't. We should just say drugs. And we should include alcohol in that. But unfortunately, we live in a society where we say alcohol and drugs, so we've already cleverly separated alcohol from drugs, because a lot of people that I talk to would not take illegal drugs and they don't see alcohol as a drug. So one of the first things I want you to do is think of alcohol as a drug, see it as a drug, because that's what it is. Yeah, okay, it's legal, it's socially acceptable, it's readily available, it's aggressively marketed to us, but it is still a drug. It's a substance that you ingest that impacts on the way you think and feel. The other thing about alcohol, which is different to a lot of substances, is that it is a drug that you can build up a physical addiction to. So this can happen if you drink daily and you drink significant amounts daily, or it can happen if you drink significant amounts in a binge session. It's hard to say exact amounts because everybody's different, but as a general guide for physical dependency, for women, we are quite concerned about women drinking more than 18 units a day. We would do an assessment around physical dependency, physical addiction. For men, we would be looking at 24 units a day. Now, that does not mean that as a woman, if you're drinking 18 units a day, which is 2 bottles of wine, you definitely have a physical dependency to alcohol. It does not mean that at all. It just means that we would want to err on the side of caution, because there are lots of factors involved in assessing physical dependency. Same as with the men. I have met men that are drinking 24 units and do not have a physical addiction to alcohol, but we would still do that assessment. Now, if you did, have a physical dependency and you stopped drinking suddenly, you would go into withdrawal, and symptoms of withdrawal are sweating, shaking, anxiety, paranoia, psychosis, whole body shakes, hallucinations, and fits. And alcohol withdrawal can be fatal, and this is why, as a practitioner, we always err on the side of caution if somebody is drinking significant amounts daily, as well as if they have other stuff going on around their mental health, physical health, medication, stuff like that. Yeah, it is not an exact science and it takes some time to assess. It's not clear cut. So that's why we always take this incredibly seriously. Now, some people may notice that they have the sweating and the shaking, but that is still withdrawal. So we ask people either to reduce slowly to manage their withdrawals or go and get some medical support. There's a whole other video about this because it's quite detailed. The other thing with alcohol that a lot of people don't realise is if you drink too much alcohol in one go, you can kill yourself. You can overdose on alcohol. Again, what is too much? It's different for different people. There will be so many factors involved. You and I could go out drinking and we could drink the same amount and it would have a very different impact on either of us. Yeah, we tend to see more overdoses with younger people. So with that more risk taking, drinking huge amounts in one go, that type of stuff, sort of teenagers, young adults. So it's really good to educate your teenagers about alcohol. You know, that you can go to the corner shop, buy a bottle of vodka, but actually that bottle of vodka could kill you. The other place where we see this as well is like drinking games, you know, sports stuff, hen nights, stag do's, that type of thing. Any situation where people are encouraged or it's acceptable to drink large amounts in a short period of time, or maybe even in a long period of time. It's that continuous drinking, yeah, which can be really dangerous, and accidents as well. So again, that is not unusual, particularly with younger people, where they're drinking quite large amounts. They're not really aware of what they're doing. You know, it can be really easy for people to get into accidents where they fall over, fall off bridges, fall into rivers. I'm laughing, but I know it's not funny because people die. You know, walk out into the middle of the road, get run over. There's all sorts of stuff that happens because if you've drunk more than probably a few drinks, you are not in control of your faculties. You think you are, but you're not. So the other thing with alcohol is it's a poison, it's a toxin. So if you ingest alcohol in significant quantities, so more than a few drinks, there is a chance and probably likely that this will have a poisonous, toxic effect, okay? And this is what happens when we drink too much in one go. You are effectively poisoning yourself, as well as how it works on the body and the brain and how that shuts things down as well. Now, when we talk about safe amounts, well, we don't actually talk about safe amounts. You know, people talk about government recommended guidelines. In the UK, I think we're looking at about 14 units a week. Government recommended guidelines, that's about a bottle and a half of wine, something like between 6 and 7 pints of lager, depending on what type of lager you drink. So not a huge amount of alcohol. What we're looking for there is some alcohol-free days as well. So how we describe it is that is a guideline, that there are no safe amounts. And if you want to be healthy, it's better that you drink the less amount of alcohol you can. If optimum health is your goal, then we always say no alcohol. And sometimes with different health complaints, you know, mental health, physical health, we would say you need to stop drinking because alcohol is definitely not going to help with this. And it's not unusual when we work with people, when they have a bit of time alcohol free, that they miraculously recover from all sorts of funny little ailments. Because yeah, alcohol really is not good for us in any way, shape or form, which I'm going to go into a bit more detail. Now, it has a massive impact on our physical health. Yes, humans are incredibly resilient, and that is phenomenal. And there is a component to this which is genetic as well, and also lifestyle. It's a mix of a number of things. So if you are somebody that has always looked after yourself, you know, you've had a healthy diet from birth, you know, you're educated, you've been loved and cared for, life has been good, you've had a good lifestyle from birth and even as an adult, and your genetics are, you know, very resilient as well, you can probably drink more than people who don't have that genetic resilience, but also maybe have not looked after themselves or did not have the best start in life. So yeah, but sometimes, you know, with the genetic stuff, that's a lottery. We don't always know. Yes, we can look to our parents, but that isn't always a given. It is part of the picture, okay? So part of the physical health impact is when people drink too much in one go with the binge. So the risk there is about poisoning yourself, but also overloading your body with alcohol. So your body has to work really hard to process it. You know, the risk of overdose, the risk of accidents. You know, if you're binge drinking at home, that's accidents at home, falls out and about, still accidents. You know, you can get involved into violent altercations, risk of injury, criminal justice, you know, criminal records, having sex with somebody you wouldn't normally have sex with, risk of sexually transmitted diseases, you know, unwanted pregnancy. When you drink too much in one go, and maybe there's a whole load of you drinking, you are incredibly vulnerable, yeah? Unless there's one person who's not drinking, who's looking out for you, who's definitely got your back. But if you are drinking quite a bit, more than a few drinks maybe, the more you drink, the more vulnerable you are going to become. And some people experience blackouts, memory loss, things like that. And on a really low level, it's that shame and embarrassment, the anxiety and the hangovers. But if you drink quite a lot when you go out, or you drink a lot in one go at home, there are a lot of risks just in that short term around the binge as well. It's not just about that daily, long term, or not even daily, but just that long term chronic use. You know, there can be quite a lot of risks around the binge as well. And when we use alcohol regularly in significant quantities, maybe not even in significant quantities, depending on your lifestyle and genetics, it can have a massive impact on our mental health. It massively impacts on our brain chemistry. I will do a video on mental health and brain chemistry. It impacts on our memory, you know, right the way through to alcohol related dementia, you know, to very serious brain damage. Serious brain damage is unusual, and you would need to be drinking a lot over a long period of time, and not looking after yourselves for sure. That is one of those ones where you don't see that so much, and it is more about those daily chronic drinkers. But even on a lower level, alcohol will still massively impact on your brain chemistry, your mental health, anxiety, depression, low mood, your memory. It impacts on your sleep. You know, when our sleep is impacted, when we're tired, everything else is impacted. So again, you know, it's a double whammy for your mental health and your emotions. It can chip away at your self-esteem because of how it impacts on your mental health, your thought processes, your internal dialogue, negative self-talk, that type of stuff. So don't underestimate, you know, even probably quite small amounts. You know, I had somebody contact me a while ago who was only drinking 2 glasses of wine. Obviously it does depend on the size of the glass, you know, if it's those big glasses, that's quite a lot of wine. Only drinking 2 glasses of wine, didn't really think alcohol was an issue, and just thought, you know what, I'm going to give it up for a month just to see. And they were blown away by the difference in their sleep, their thought processes, their mood, their mental health, and that was just on 2 glasses of wine a day. So I always say to people, you know, even if you're drinking a small amount and maybe you haven't even got an issue, it's still worth doing like 30 days alcohol free and just seeing what the difference is. Yeah, for sure. Nerve damage is something that we see, but again, it's usually fairly extreme. So the tingling in the hands and feet, because alcohol is a toxin and it's poison. So, you know, think about this. You drink alcohol, you know, it goes into your stomach and it permeates into your blood, and your blood is everywhere in your body. So there is no part of your body that is not impacted by alcohol. Yeah, so every organ is impacted by alcohol, and this is why we see such a range of problems around physical health, because the genetic component is important there as well. You know, I may have problems with my liver, but someone else may have problems with pancreatitis, or may have problems with cancer, or someone else may have problems with their mental health. Do you see what I mean? There are lots and lots of different ways that alcohol can impact us. So cancer, alcohol does increase our cancer risk for sure. High blood pressure, that's a really quite common one that we see quite a lot of. Liver, very well known, that one. Alcohol also, excuse my barking dog, alcohol also, you know, has a massive impact on our stomach, because it is a toxin, it's a poison, you know, it's going into our stomach. So it's really damaging stuff in there as well. And it can impact on our ability to process certain nutrients as well. So it can impact on nutrition. And also cause over acidity. You know, it's not unusual for people to be really struggling with their digestion, with over acidity, with acid reflux, gastritis, you know, general stomach problems that people think are just sort of part of life, when actually if you stop drinking, your stomach, you know, looked after your stomach will probably get a lot better. And unfortunately, when we leave these things in our stomach, we can get into things like stomach ulcers, potentially stomach cancers as well. Pancreas, pancreatitis, something that we see. Impact on fertility. for men and for women. You know, one of the things that we talk about is if you are, you know, if you're trying for a baby, one of the best things you can do is stop drinking. That's for both of you, to be alcohol free, to give yourself the best chance, and particularly for the woman, because fetal alcohol syndrome, again, we don't really know about the amount. There will be a genetic component as well, obviously, and lifestyle. So the best thing you can do for your unborn baby is to not drink. You know, if you're trying to conceive, if that's planned pregnancy, you know, so that you look after your unborn baby and look after your body as best you can. And it also impacts on our bones as well, degeneration. So, you know, thinking about women as we're aging with perimenopause and all that hormonal impact as well, you know, we don't really need any help with that at all. Okay, so much there. But just the general whistle stop tour, and I will post some links with this video as well. There's a few things I want you to remember. So alcohol is a drug, yeah? Okay, it's legal, so it's acceptable, readily available, but it's still a drug, okay? It's a toxin, it's a poison. Unless you have alcohol in very small quantities, very occasionally, there is a poisonous, toxic component to it. If you drink too much alcohol in one go, you can overdose. You know, alcohol carries the risk of physical addiction, and then withdrawal can be fatal in some situations. And that when you drink alcohol, it goes into your body, into your stomach, and then into your blood. So there is not one part of your body that is not impacted by your alcohol use. Okay?